So none of that was recorded.
None of that was recorded.
And we're rewinding. Welcome to the Vintage House Show. It's your main man, Mega, with, of course, my colleague and super duper producer, Lauren Lowry. And we're
What up,
missing
y'all?
DJ Lori Branch, also part of the Vintage House crew.
Yes.
And tonight we have indeed a jam-packed special show, as we do every Wednesday night. But of course, each show is unique. Tonight's, I can't stress enough, we've got the iconic, legendary, as it's been shared, classic group known as Master C and J with us tonight. Let's give it up for Master C and J.
The legend, yes.
Hi, I'm the co-founder of Master C&J. My name is Jesse Jones. What I did is how I created a group back in the 80s. I got a bunch of talented DJs to work with. And I worked with these DJs, and how I first got started, I was a buyer, a dance music buyer at Loop Records. I was a dance music buyer at Loop Records. And I used to service all the DJs in the city of Chicago, even outside the suburbs. They all come in. They can find all types of music from me. My ear was tuned up to every type of music. I didn't discriminate against no kind of music. I sold rock, jazz, blues. So when people come in, they come in with a radio and they say, Jesse, can you tell me what this is? They hit on the radio. 3 seconds, my ear pick it up. Boom. So, that's how I got started, and that's how I met with all the DJs. So the DJs used to come to me. I used to play them with all the New York music, the European music. This was before house came out, So then my DJs, we all had a look good get thing together. Like they had different parties. I used to go host all their parties. I used to throw records out to them. And, I had, I used to service people like Knuckles. Knuckles came in right out the club. Him and Ron Hardy, they come in, hang out in the store. And one thing about Knuckles, he hardly never buy too much new stuff because everybody used to give him a lot of new stuff. So, but he used to come in and buy all the old soulful stuff from me. You know what I mean? He buy all the old LPs, mainline, different stuff like that. Ron Hardy, the same way. These legendary DJs, the Hot Mix 5, Kenny, Ralphie, all the guys used to come in to me. Scott Smoking Seal, Mickey Oliver, so I had all the local DJs. I had music that nobody else had. I had a friend out in New York, and her name was Marianne. She has had a big distributor, MJS Music. And she used to send me every record that come out. And so I listened to the record. She sent me one record. I said, give me one of everything. I listened to the record. And said, oh, well, Mom, I like this record. I can take this record and I can sell it to my Latin DJs. Oh, I can take this record. I can sell it to my black DJs, or I can take this record and sell it to my gay DJs. So my ear was pretty open much to everybody, so everybody respected me for my music, So then now house music came out, Master C and J, we wasn't the first doing house. We wasn't the kings of house, but we were the masters of the house. I took all the talented DJ. It wasn't about me. It was about getting the right team together. You know what I mean? And one thing about Master C and J, I had Edward Get Down Crosby. He was part of Master C and J. I had Lugo Rosado, Carl Byers. You know what I mean? I had Joe Piscateri. He was one Italian guy that plays drums, live drum for us when we tour. So we had a big organization. Liz Torres, which was my ex-girlfriend, and she used to be part of my production team. She was the leader. We got behind Liz. We created the music, and we made Liz what she was. Without us, it wouldn't be a Liz Torres. You know what I mean? So we built, I told all the guys, it's not about us. Let's get behind Liz. You know what I mean? We give her good music, good performance behind her. And that's what we created in New York.
Before you go to New York, you touched upon a couple of things, including some of the members of your crew who are tuned in on the studio with us tonight, and I wanted to be sure to get some perspective and introductions from some of your crew that are on with you. And then let's get into that story where New York and Jesse Jones connect.
Okay.
So, Lugo, you're a part of Master C&J. Tell us about your role.
Well, it's funny because when I first met Jesse, like he was saying, he was a 12-inch buyer at Loop Records, and it was like a hub where all the DJs would get their music in the 80s, early 80s. They had other record stores like Imports, etc., Rose Records, but there was like battle to battle against Loop Records and Imports, etc. And so everyone would go to Jesse at the time, and I would see him on the beach because I was young. I was I was DJing at night and hitting the beach in the daytime, So I'd see him on the beachfront, and one time I seen him with a boombox, and he had a boombox that had the that played vinyl. I was like, and I stopped him. I told him, "Hey man, what is that new song?" He goes, "No man, this is some new stuff that I got. Stop him by the record store." And I used to go to the record store prior to that, and we built that relationship. I was pretty popular at the time as a teen DJ, doing the teen discos, and most of the times the events were held at halls, banquet halls, and that was at ballrooms, because ballrooms had faded out. The ballroom dancing had faded out, so the new generation took over, and we started doing our own events, and so we hooked up. It was just a good combination, and he invited me to the studio, and we were always at events and always working together in some way or how, and one day, Jesse had several DJs. He had Carl, he had Edward, and sometimes those DJs were not able to show up. They had all the gigs, so he got me involved. They said, "Hey, Lugo, why don't you come on and perform with us?" Prior to that, there was a thing called the Winter. It was a new music seminar in New York, and I would go to that with the DJs. Me and little Jesse Velez, he was another Puerto Rican DJ. We would go to that, and at one point I told Jesse, "You should go to this event because it was like it was a big networking event for everyone in the industry." And he showed up, and I took him to the Paradise Garage, and he was at awe. It was one of the biggest clubs, underground clubs.
What year was this, Lugo? Do you remember? Circa.
Might have been 82, 83. And then like 2 years later, the ironic thing is that Jesse and Liz is performing on the stage. It's like, it was like full circle. It was amazing. And yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk to some of the singers that have been involved with Master C&J. Joining us, you've got Reginald Hughes.
Hey.
Yes, Reg.
How you doing?
All right, Reg. Tell us about yourself and your involvement with Master C&J.
Okay. Jesse and I go way back. We used to live a few blocks away from each other. I had been singing and doing gospel and doing R&B for quite some time. And Jesse, I knew that he was a performer, but I was friends with his wife. And then one day we were all in the car. I don't know, we all were in the car, and Molly was like, sing something for him, Reggie. And I'm like, oh, that's not necessary. And Jesse's thinking, oh, this big black guy can't sing. He can't sing. And when he said that, I was like, okay, it's time to sing. You So I sang, and from that point on, he had been saying, well, we got to do something. We got to do something together. And it just finally took off like a couple of years ago. We finally got together in the studio, and we came up with a couple of great tunes, in my opinion. One of my favorites is Let's Come Together.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to get you to hum a few bars of Let's Come Together later in the show.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
Always a surprise on the Vintage House Show. You got to make sure you watch these things. Thanks, Reggie. And also joining us is Jay from New York. Jay, tell us about your role with Master CJ.
Me? You talk okay. First off, I'm known as NYC's original DJ Paradise. Okay. As far as Master C and Jay, Jesse, Liz, and there was another member. His name was Carl Bias. Okay. I had first met them when they first came out with a song called Mind Games. Okay. They were known. They weren't Master C and J just yet. Okay. Under the song Mind Games, okay, they happened to perform at another club called The Tunnel. Okay, another huge club in New York City called The Tunnel. And it was at The Tunnel where we all became pretty much friends, like after the show and behind the scenes. This was also one of the new music seminars that Lugo was referring to way back in those days as well. And I was also on the radio. I was one of the first. I had one of the first all house music radio shows out of New York City on a station called WTNY 88.7 WTNY called New York City Rhythm Tracks, and I would receive all of the music. One of the few DJs that received all of the music out of Chicago directly from Benji and Rocky from DJ International, as well as people who ran Trax Records and stuff like that. So it was, as well as like Byron Stingley. People don't really know Byron Stingley used to be a distributor of music as well. Okay, and one of the things I did was I took Master C and J and Liz Torres to our radio station, and guys, I'm being interrupted. Okay, so go on to the next segment, and I can come back and finish my story in a little bit. I'm sorry about that.
We are live, and this is what live production is all about, right? So going back to Jesse, you were sharing your New York story with us. Why don't you connect the dots with DJ Paradise there?
Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying that when I went to the new music seminar with Lugo and little Jesse Velez, I went to the Paradise Garage that night. That night I seen Dominatrix Sleeps Tonight on stage, and the sound system and the people was so it was just outstanding. Something you had to be there.
They're interviewing me from Chicago.
Yeah, you had to be there to experience the Paradise Garage, because there's no one in the world, nothing like that. I mean, the sound system was unbelievable. The lights was outstanding, and people come as they come. They come gay, Latin, white, black, Asian. Everybody's a big family, and they all party together. It's one beautiful place, the Paradise Garage. And so what happened when Lugo took me there, and I seen Dominatrix on stage that night of the seminar. She was singing Sleeps Tonight. I was blown away. I said, wow. And 2 years later, I couldn't imagine myself. I was like, the owner of the Paradise Garage, and Larry Levan would say, you guys are garage material. We can have you here every month performing. We never get enough of Master C and J and Liz Torres. So we was every holiday we was at the Paradise Garage. I mean, they told us that the thing about our show that we did, it wasn't rehearsed. We perform as we feel. You know, the music was there, our music was there, but the words on the record was different from the performance, and the people loved it. You know what I mean? And they loved it. So, and they didn't think that it was a such thing as a house band. You know what I mean? They thought it was just house with just tracks and beats and drum machines. But when they seen it put together, it was like blew New York away, and that put us on the map. Like people like Underground for Life, like Glenn, you know, he was hip to Chicago music from way before people even got into house. You know, and this guy, Paradise, he believed in us. You know what I mean? He took us around to different radio stations. I mean, he stayed on us. Anytime the music we get, he makes sure that he got our new music. He stayed in touch with us, and to this day, right now, he's a good friend and a big fan of ours. You know what I mean? And he knows how crazy the people went for New York for Master C and J and Liz Torres. You know what I mean? So if you make it in New York, it's all over. But I mean, that's why we got started. We was here. We had support here in Chicago, but not that much. You know what I mean? The Chicago people wasn't ready for us. They told us that our music was too ahead of the time. You know, they wasn't ready for that type of music. So, but New York was capital of music. They picked it up right away, and they got behind us. And I mean, from there, from New York, we went to London, Tokyo, Switzerland, Germany. We went all over the world. But people back in Chicago didn't know how huge that Master C and J and Liz Torres was. You know, to this day, right now, we still selling a lot of old classic stuff like crazy. You know what I mean? But
so I want to go back to a point you made with regard to your performance in New York. You talked about there not being this realization that there were house bands. Can you talk about how you performed with a band, and how many instruments did you have, and were you performing over a track, or were you playing live? And talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, this is just what made our show so different. And what we did, we took the basic house track and we played it behind the scene.
Okay.
We had a live keyboard player. We had a live drummer, which was Joe Pusateri. He's an Italian guy. He's a professional drummer. We had Liz's brother, is George Torres. He was a professional drummer. And I had electronic Simmons. The electronic Simmons, they sound just like drum machines. So we had the live keyboard. We had the live drum machine, not the drum machine, the real drummer. We had the live drummer. And we had the track going behind it, and we had two live mics. The live mics one was mine and one was Liz. So you combine all that together, and you couldn't tell the difference between that. Everything was so live because it mixes so good, because we performed it together. You know what I mean? Before we go on stage, we always rehearse. So we had it put together very good. And to this day, right now, people think everything was live, but it was a combination of half track and half live mixed.
That's amazing, because I've seen you guys at New Music Seminar, and certainly always wondered how much of that was all live versus track versus, as you shared, it was a hybrid.
Right.
So very clever.
Combine. And so, like you said, with the sound, with the look, and the performance, you know, when you go out to see a show, you don't want to see a show, somebody just standing there and just singing. Well, we tell stories behind our music. You know, Liz tell me no more mind games. We fighting on the stage. You know what I mean? She telling me get out. You know, she kicked me out of our house in her music. You know what I mean? She said, if you listen to the Liz Torres music, it's always about love and fighting. and people, they can relate to that. And they used to love when Liz used to get on stage and just go off on me. The whole audience used to just love it. You know what I mean?
So it was real when it was happening.
Right. It was real. Yes.
Lugo, I see you bobbing your head. Reggie,
yeah, because
it
was like a play. You know, you're getting a play and you're getting a show, a performance. It was something different. Not only that, Liz's style was very provocative, whereas in that time, everyone was very conservative. No, but everyone was like very teeny boppy, but Jesse got Liz to get very sexy and very sensual, and that was part of the show too, you know. So it got which is like the norm now.
Right.
You see Cardi B, Jennifer Lopez, everyone. You see all these artists just going. You know, they taking it a notch up.
I would say Liz was one of probably the first house sirens, I call
it. Of course, there was Grace Jones. Grace Jones was before.
Well, yeah, and Grace held it down for the disco era.
Right.
So, Lauren, you had a couple of questions for the Master C and J crew, and then I want to get to those, as we also want to understand, what does Master C and J stand for?
Okay. Now, Master C and J, when we first got started, first the group was Quest.
Yes.
It was me, Carl, and Liz. So this white guy, this kid came in to the store. He do rock and roll. So he told me, he came in the store, he said, I heard you got a good ear for dance music. He said, I want to do a track. I want to do a dance track. So I said, this is how I first got started in the music, you know. I didn't know jack nothing, you know, but I had a good ear, you know. So he said, I got my own studio. If you can come down and give me a right direction how to do some dance music, I would love to put you guys on the record with me. You know what I mean? I said, that's cool. That's fine. So Carl was working in the store with me. Carl Bias, he's working in the store with me. And, you know, at that time, me and Liz was dating. So Liz followed me everywhere I go, you know. So we went in to the studio. I took Carl and I took Liz. So the song was No More Mind Games. I was supposed to be singing on No More Mind Games. But what happened was Liz was in the studio and she said, I think I sound better than you. I said, let's try it. What we got to lose? You know, this is something new to us, which is exciting. I mean, we didn't know nothing about performing on a record or nothing. It was something new. So we just experimenting. Okay, so Liz started singing, and then the engineer said, hey, let's put some effect on her voice. No more mind games, no more. That's Liz's voice sound like a man, but he had adjusted on the mixing board. No more mind games, no more mind games. And I said, wow, that sounds kind of freaky. And so he started affecting it out, and Liz put in a couple vocals, and Cod did the beats. You know, Cod programmed some beats on his little drum machine. And so we put the song together, No More Mind Games. Well, I said, we're going to press out about maybe 50 records just to say we own some records, you know? And all of a sudden, the DJs from Chicago got a hold of Mind Games, and they started playing it. And okay, and all of a sudden, I don't know how I got in New York. Well, I got a call from the Paradise Garage from Michael Brody. He's the owner of the Paradise. Him and Larry Levan had called me, and they had told me that the song No More Mind Games, Quest, they wanted us to come perform it. And I say, perform it? One song? You know, and it was kind of weird to me. So I said, he said, yeah, we offer to give you guys $5,000 for the one song, all expenses paid, hotel, and everything. I say, well, hey, let's go. So we took that one song, and I say, well, this one song was only like about six or 7 minutes. So we made the one song 20 minutes long for one song, No More Mind Games. And the people in New York went nuts. They went nuts. And we couldn't believe Rocky Jones at that time, him and Benji from DJ International, they had told me just that record Mind Games, I'm getting a lot of people asking for that. Can we distribute that? I said, yeah, because we can't keep up the pressing on it. You know what I mean? So Benji and Rocky Jones, they took over and they started distributing the Mind Games, and they couldn't keep up the pressing either. The pressing got way out of control. So next thing we know, in New York, everybody was bootlegging the record. You know, and there were different colors of Mind Games. Quest was here, Quest was there. So the whole bottom story of it, that's how Master C and J got started. And he asked me about the Master C and J, which was Jesse and Carl. That's how we first got started. You know, so what happened, the guy, Rick CPAC on the label, well, he gypped us out of everything. He didn't give us no publishing. He didn't give us no writer's fee. He didn't give me no credit or nothing. When the record came out, he just had his name up there and Liz's name in real tiny little letters. Carl's name, just a C and a B for Carl. You know what I mean? It's like, and he didn't give us no money. I guess because we didn't know the game at that time. You know, we was new at everything. So I got really mad about it when that record came out. I didn't see my name on it. You know what I mean? He didn't pay us. He didn't give us no credit. So I said, you know what? We're gonna start our own record label, and we're gonna do Master C and J. So Master C and J really started out with Carl and Jesse. Okay, so I copyrighted the Master C and J.
Trademark.
And then, trademark. And what happened was Carl wanted to decide he wanted to take the lead over Liz. He says, I'm the star. I said, no, Carl. We in the background. Let Liz be the star. She's the star. They want to see something pretty, sexy, and wow. You know, let us be cool in the background. He said, no, man, I'm Master C. I'm out of here. I'm gone. So I said, okay, Carl, that's you. And Carl, he left and did his own thing. So from there, then Edward came in. And Edward's last name was Crosby. So he was part of C. So then when Edward couldn't work, Lugo came in. Lugo was part of C. So when certain person couldn't make it, I would take that C and I put their name in the C. So that's how the Master C and J really got started.
Lugo, I see you ponder. It's like you're hearing the story for the first time.
Many
Jesse's
times,
telling a great story, right?
It's a good story, and the thing is that it comes full circle. That a few years back, I go to Jesse, and I tell him, "Hey, man, this thing, your stuff's all over the YouTube and everything because it's a new generation, you know, and there's followers, and they're writing all these great reviews. We got to get back together, and you know, because back then, you know, you used to pay for studio time, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars per hour, and you know, so it took a toll on your budget. And I said, you know, now you can do your stuff on a laptop, you know, on a Mac. You got all these programs, and I said, let's do some stuff. We could do it again. Let's get together, and this time let's do it right, you know. Let's do it right. And we got together a few years back. What was it, 5 or 7 years ago? I don't know.
About 6 years ago.
6 years ago? Okay.
Yeah. Lugo begged me to get back into it. He said, Jess, people still talking about your stuff. This stuff still selling. And house music is huge now. Before, when we came out with house music, like I said, I wasn't the first doing house music, and I wasn't the king of house music, but we was the masters of the house music. You had your Marsha Jefferson and your Robert Owens and Fingers, and you had all those guys. They was before me, the Chippies and all those guys. All those guys were before me because I used to push all their music. You know what I mean? And we all came up on the same thing. But what I did with my music, I branched it into a story, and I put stories behind my house music. So that's what made us get more people. When people go out and hear music, they like to know what's behind it. You know what I mean? And what was amazing, the group that I was working with was Black, Latin, Italian. So our group was mixed. And when we tour in all different places. We had all types of people. You know what I mean? And it was the good thing about it. We put the little soul, now Lugo might be Latin, but when he came up, he was playing all old soulful stuff. You know what I mean? You go into the club and you couldn't see the DJ behind the booth. And when Lugo stepped out, they said, "Why the DJ at?" I said, "That's him right there." Lugo,
hey man, I was watching Soul Train back in the days. I was watching American Bandstand.
and so and so when Lugo came in the store, I had no problem selling the music because he liked the same style of music that I like, and he had soulful in him, and he liked all the Teddy Pendergrass. He liked all the Marvin Gaye's. I mean, everything was soul, Lugo was, and it was real cool because I get stuff and me and him relate, and so we relate to, so it was good. So me and him got real close, but it was so cool because everywhere we go, they would judge him by his color, and they wouldn't, but when they hear him play music, they would freak out. They say, "Man, that white boy's getting down." Whoa. But
I look white, but I'm Puerto Rican. You know what I mean?
Right. But it was amazing because because the style of music, he grew up from 16 to 17 listening to all this soulful stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what made him. I got so special close to him. Yeah, definitely.
That's a great segue. That's a great segue to. We went really quickly into, your professional life almost. And, this is the Vintage House Show. We like to give a little bit of love to sort of the beginning, your beginning. So people know where you came from, where you grew up, what side of the city, high schools, that kind of thing. But I'm going to start by just giving a little love to Jesse Velez. We have his obituary or his event that you had after his passing as a tribute to him. And since you mentioned him, we wanted to throw that old flyer up.
Thank you.
And Lugo is definitely, without question, one of our really house music historians in his own right, as we talk more about the Latin connections in house music, certainly in Chicago. Not everyone knows what everyone else was doing. Right, the South Side wasn't always heading up to the West Side or to the North Side to see what was going on, and Lugo always sort of brings that all together. But I'm going to start, Jesse. Talk to me quickly. Where'd you grow up? What community? Where'd you go to grammar school, high school? How'd you get the job at Loop Records? You just jump out of nowhere and got the job. What happened?
No, what happened? I grew up on the South Side of Chicago, around the Inglewood area. Carl stayed about like 3 or 4 blocks from me. You know what I mean? So we all grew up in that area. And then during that time, Frankie was around there too. He didn't live too far. Frankie Knuckles didn't live too far from us too. So we all grew up from the South Side of Chicago. But then we started moving on different parts of Chicago. But that's why I really grew up at. But my hangout was the North Side of Chicago, because at that time, the North Side had some really nice clubs. Back in the, I don't know if anybody familiar with this, but Ron Hardy used to spin at a club called Our Den on Wells, and I mean it was one of the best clubs that it was a mixture of clubs. It had drag queens, straight, everybody was in it, and I mean talking about party. And that was on the North Side. That was in Old Town. It was called Our Den. And that was the first underground speakeasy club that I ever went to. It was amazing. You know what I mean? But as I was saying, that's how I got started, from the South Side, and then I moved up to the North Side. North Side, we used to party all night. From there, it was a place called Coconuts. We did Coconuts. Then there was another place up north back in the days called a Machine, and so I've been around pretty much so in the music industry, so you know what I mean. But that's how I got started. And like I said, I met Lugo on the North Side at the beach. Like I said, I had this big boom box, and I was promoting all the new music. I had and this boom box played records. So I would walk down the beach and everybody would like freak out. Man, this guy's playing this big old boombox with records and stuff. So it was something new to them. It was freaking. But Lugo got attached to me right then and there because I didn't know that he was a DJ at the time. And then that's how we got into it. And then that's when I met Liz. Liz was on the beach with her brothers, and she got all excited and heard the music. She wanted to come around and hear the music. And so that's how we really got started.
Lugo, give me some background.
So, touching base with what Jesse said, the beach time, summertime was a big time. A lot of the dance groups, and that's, as DJs, we rely on that because we feed off the dancers, right? When the DJs DJing, they feed off the it's like a call and response, right? You're feeding the music, the response is off the dancers. And so a lot of these dance groups were formed, and these were teenagers. A lot of them were, they were finding their own individuality. You know what I mean? Some of them were trying to get out of gangs, right? Because we all, a lot of us grew up in bad neighborhoods, or they had problems at home, so they got into dancing. Or their sexuality, you know what I mean? They finally decided to come out, and back then, it was the early '80s, so it was not the norm, and so a lot of the clubs.
Yeah, sorry, Lugo. I was going to say, what were some of those neighborhoods and maybe the schools that you were involved with?
So, it was like the north side, Calvin Park. I went to Lane Tech.
Okay, there we go.
And so, but it was more conservative, But I would always hang out, because I was constantly promoting as a teenager, and that was a big thing. So I would go promote at the other high schools, even the south side too, you know what I mean? That was part of my game of passing out flyers and letting these teenagers know, hey, there's a place you can go and dance, and it's okay. You can, I think it probably ended at 11 or 12, I guess. We would start at 6 or 7, and sometimes we would have dance contests, and they would compete for prizes or money. It was amazing, it was just like a revolution of music. Some of these dancers even got an opportunity to perform their or design their own outfits and compete for prizes. DJs were able to showcase their talents. It was a good time, as being a teen, because you had an outlet to showcase who you wanted to be, and in the arts.
So talk about how you met DJ Paradise, and then a little bit about Reginald.
Okay, DJ Paradise. Well, as I was touring with Jesse in the band, I met Glenn Pinkney from Underground for Life, and in New York, and we were touring. So he would take us to these radio stations and have us interviewed. He was a great supporter of us. Reggie, I just met through Jesse, because one time Jesse said, "Hey, I got the singer. I want him to come over, and we're gonna do this new track." It was called "Feed Me." And so I said, "Yeah, let's do it." He says, "Hey, this guy's phenomenal." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Reggie's cracking up over there. Okay, cue Reggie. How about those bars?
So he showed up
the first time I heard that song, just the title itself made me crack up, and it still does today. I love it. But I'm telling you, we had a great time in the studio doing that song.
We had so much fun. There was a connection right from the beginning. I said, "Oh, this is the guy." Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like they were saying that you know, like I said, I met you know, my wife Molly was telling me that this guy Reginald's got a beautiful voice. She said, Jesse, with your music and him behind your voice it's going to outstanding. And I said, I didn't think she know what she was talking about, you know. And so one day we picked up Reginald, and she said, I got Reginald in the car. So I picked up Reginald. Reginald got in the car, and Justin Timberlake was singing on the radio. And Justin Timberlake said, oh, that boy can't sing. And remember that, Reggie?
I do remember that.
Yeah, and Reggie started singing and belting. I said, oh my God. And I said, this guy sounds like Sylvester. He sounds like Luther Vandross, Freddie Jackson, all in, you know what I mean? All in once. I said, man, I gotta capture this guy, man. I gotta work with this guy. This guy got a beautiful voice.
So, Reggie, where are you from?
You know, I'm from Waukegan, Illinois, and
all right.
My I grew up singing a long time. My brother was a professional artist. He's best noted for a song called "Still Away" back in the '60s. Jimmy Hughes. Yeah, that's my oldest brother, and Percy Sledge is one of my cousins, and we're first cousins, and so I'm from a musical family.
Indeed.
And so I just love all types of music. I love it. Yeah.
What's the high school in Waukegan?
Ha! West Campus Raiders.
All right. I think you
West
are the first.
Campus Raiders. I'm shouting y'all out.
All right. We got a new audience joining us, the West Campus Raiders from Waukegan.
Yeah.
Let's get over to Jay, DJ Paradise. Talk a little bit about your beginnings in New York.
Oh, he's muted.
Okay. Test 1, 2. Yes. Okay. My wow. Let's see. I'll take you back to I'm going to say 1985. I started producing some songs and things like that. One of the artists that I had originally produced was an artist named Noel Pagan. He had a hit called Silent Morning. And of course, not really knowing much, just long story short, fast forward it. The song had gotten stolen from me and my partner. Okay. And so we didn't really, once the song hit around the world, we didn't really have too much more to do with that. But I didn't quit. So I kept going because most people would have quit after that. After that type of a situation occurred. But no, we didn't quit. So when I met I was again, like I said earlier, I was one of the first to do one of the first house music radio shows in New York City called New York City Rhythm Tracks on a station called WTNY. Again, received, you know, all of the music and stuff like that from all of the Chicago retailers, record labels, promotion guys. You know, everybody knew who I was. Okay, especially out of Chicago and out of New York City. I would literally instead of like a traditional way of DJs who would promote or not, maybe not so much promote, but I had one of the first charts, also one of the first top 25, one of the first top 50 charts that I would literally take to every single record label, send it out to all of the record labels around. Okay, so part of my history is I'm very much one of the first to bring Chicago artists to New York City as far as the Bronx, the section of the Bronx. And I used to play in a club called La Cacique right across the street from Little Louis Vega. Okay,
one more time. What was the name of the club?
The name of the club was called La Cacique. La Cacique. Okay.
Thank you for slowing it down for me, because
No problem.
yeah.
No problem. La Cacique was on Webster and Tremont Avenue, and the
Yeah.
Devil's Nest, where Little Louie was playing. He was playing freestyle music back then, a lot of freestyle back then, and he was right across the street. So from time to time, we knew each other. He would come, check out what we were doing at La Cacique, and of course, we would go check what he was doing at the Devil's Nest. And from there, I was one of the first to bring Chicago house music artists to New York City. One of the first was Candy J, okay, and another one was
Yeah.
Zavaria Gold. You used to hold me, okay,
Yeah.
as well as some others. But my
She'll be on
relationship
our
with
show next month for Women's History Month, by the way.
Candy J or Zavaria or both?
Xavier, yeah.
Well, we call it, yeah. With Jesse and Liz, our relationship grew. We've known each other since like 1985. It just grew from there. Again, as Jesse had mentioned earlier, I pretty much was helping to push them and move them, and other people were beginning to take notice of this. Other people in the music industry were taking notice of it, and I was actually asked by Jive Records, okay, to help when Jive Records had first signed Liz to come on as part of the promotion team. But of course, that didn't work out, and what's his name from the Five?
That Five Freddy?
Williams.
Wayne Williams from The Chosen.
Yeah, they winded up choosing Wayne Williams to do that for Jesse and Liz and for Jive Records in itself. But no biggie. We kept our relationship strong, and Jesse knew, pretty much I stayed true. And when they decided, like Lugo had mentioned earlier, okay, he had convinced Jesse. Okay, Jesse had called me and said, listen, we're going to try this music thing one more time. I would really want you part of the team. And that's how I came back and
Nice.
continue doing stuff for Master C&J.
Welcome back. So
Thank you.
fast forward, because this hour of Vintage House goes really fast.
Yes,
but we wanted to certainly hear about what's new and next for Master C&J.
Guys, you wanna
Jesse?
Yeah, go ahead. We got okay. Right now we got a nice catalog.
Yes.
That's setting up that we getting ready to put out. We got a song called Party that we did. We haven't put it out yet because of the Corona time. Because it say party. It's just talking about party in the clubs and in the house. And during this time, I didn't think it was a good time to put it out during the Corona time. So I says, since the country's getting ready, since they got the vaccine, they getting ready to open back up. I said that's at the end of the summer. That's a good time to put that song out. Well, okay, we got another song out called Freakness.
Yes.
That is going to be released in about a couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure you guys got a promo copy of that. We had put out, we had put out the since I've been back with Lugo, me and Lugo did the Mary Jane. We did a song called Work It Deep. Mary Jane was Bad Girl. Then we did a remix version of When You Hold Me.
Yes.
And then we came out with the Reginald Hughes, Feed Me. Then we came out with Reginald Hughes, Let's Come Together. Now we got a new song that I just ripped for Reginald called Let's Be Happy. And this song is this is, I think, one of the best songs that I came out with. You know what I mean? So, but it's not ready yet. But Reginald, he got to come in this weekend to lay down the vocals. But I called Reginald yesterday. I told Reginald, you're going to be so excited about this new song that we just finished for you, man. And one thing about Reginald, you can tell he's a professional singer. I can go to him and say, hey, Reginald, I want you to sing it like this. And Reginald hit it right on the button. And then he put his own feelings in it. He sing it from his heart. He don't sing it the way I sing it. He sing it the way he feels. You know what I mean? And that's one good thing about a good artist like Reginald. I just give him the lyrics, and if I make a little mistake or something in it, he Reginald change it and fix it. But there's one good thing that I like about Reginald when we was doing the song "Let's Come Together," and Reginald had the vocals in front of him. And I was writing the vocals as he was singing, and Reginald put the vocals in front of him, and he couldn't see what the next vocal, and he started singing. It sounds so good. He played it off. He couldn't see the lyrics, but he sung it. He was telling me, I can't see what comes next on the paper, but it sounded so good in the song. We kept it in the song. So he's a good singer. I love it.
So you're an ad-libber too,
Phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, so that's the project that we got coming out. Also, I got a couple of new young DJs that I'm working with, because it ain't about us, it's the next generation. So we want to pass it on to the younger generation. I got a DJ called DJ Kato. He's a very talented young kid. He's about 24 years old. He knows the software very good. I mean, he knows. He say, I just want to be with you guys because I do a lot of hip hop and a lot of R&B and soul. But he said, I love you guys' house music. He said, you guys' house music from the 80s, you played it for us and we freaked out. We couldn't believe it was made that many years ago in 1980. You know what I mean? He said, Jess, it sounds like the stuff that's happening now. You know what I mean? So, but I'm working with DJ Kato. I got a couple songs I did with DJ Kato. One was called Booty, because young kids, how he is. He got the track out with Booty with my son. Him and Kato, they doing that track. Kato's doing a house track with me called Tonight. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of projects, but I'm so happy that I'm working with the young crowd, the young kids. Like I said, it ain't about the older guys now. It's the older guys is passing it on to the newer, younger guys. And so, on all these projects, these last 4 projects that I worked, Kato's been working on that with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to put in Man. We got Man in there.
Yeah, I did say Jesse Jr. Man. We call him Man because when he was little, he looked like a little man to me. So, but it's Jesse Jr.'s my son. He's doing a lot of the hip hop stuff. So we branching off. Master CJ is branching off toward the hip hop crowd because that's their style of music. You know what I mean? Our style of music, they wants to learn it, and so they learning it. But I'm not gonna take away from them. You know what I mean? One thing about me, I don't discriminate against music. I love any kind of dance music. I love any kind of house music. I love Latin house. I love deep house. I love soul house, R&B house, African house. So I'm that type of person that I don't discriminate against no type of house music. I love everybody's house music.
Well, we love Master C and J, and we're excited that you've got new music coming, and you are aligned with us in the philosophy of teaching the next generation, not teaching, but enabling and helping them to embrace the genre and their overall musicality. We appreciate that they are helping to sustain house music. And so this is a perfect segue. We've got a new brand extension of Vintage House. Lauren, why don't you tell everyone about what's next?
Well, and you all, again, are really in line, Jesse, with what the future of house music needs to be. So the Vintage House Show really supports any artist that has interest in the genre of house music. And so we're supporting a gentleman named DJ Andre Harris. Dre Boogie is in the house. Our Vintage House hosts are young people, Justin Alexander and Vita Girl, DJ Vita Girl. Justin is in the house right now, and he's going to give us some information on the spotlight and what the spotlight is and how we're supporting up and coming DJs, the new, the now, and the future.
Hey, everybody. Well, Jesse said it best. He said it best already. Exactly. Everything that he explained aligns with what the spotlight is about. It's about legends like everyone here that's on the Vintage House Show that appears every single week on Wednesdays. Um, those legends passing the torch down and sharing the spotlight, sharing the talent, sharing like the information and everything of in all the music production for us to be able to give it to the younger generations and to um, have these younger generations appear on our shows as well and learn from you guys and also carry on the house music and not let it die out. And this week we got, give me 1 second. Don't. Sorry about that. This week we have DJ Dre Boogie, also known as Andre Harris. He's a Limberloom 88 graduate, and he worked in the Marine Corps and graduated from UIC after that. Let me see. He pretty much listed a bunch of his mentors and his favorite DJs, and he said his main mentor is James Ford. He learned DJing from him 30 years ago. And some of his favorite DJs are he listed Farley, Ron Hardy, Steve Maestro, Ferris, Louis Vega, and Terry Hunter. And we already excited to hear what he got in store for a spotlight show. And before we even get to him, like we said before in our previous shows, we're so thankful to launch the spotlight in this month of January. This new year, this past month, we had 4 amazing DJs to take the spotlight, and we actually took a poll, which amassed over like 1,300 votes. And the winner of our spotlight contest, or the chosen DJ, if you must, proud to announce, drum roll, was the winner who amassed the most votes was DJ John Young from Jam Music.
Woo,
All right,
DJ
Jam.
Yes.
And I did see he is watching, so hopefully he's still tuned in as he should be. So yeah, he's the winner, and we're gonna allow him to choose his prize. So, John, make sure you get in touch with me and Lori after.
Congratulations, John Young. And I got to shout out my man, Andre Dre Boogie, who's next up on the spotlight. We've done some things together, and we'll be doing some more in the future. So looking forward to you putting it down for this month.
Dre, you got a few things you want to say?
No, I just want to say hi to everybody. I also want to thank the Vintage House folks for giving me the spotlight for the night. I hope you guys enjoy what you're getting ready to listen to. Hope you guys really feel it.
Cool.
We're going to face it. We're going to face it because we got Master P&J on. A little play on words there. But want to give a rousing applause to Master C&J for coming out and sharing their stories tonight. An incredible array of stories.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And also I'd like to thank Glenn from Underground for Life for being involved with us tonight. Without him, he got behind me. I had gave up on the house scene about 7 to 8 years ago, and Glenn said, "No, Jesse, you got to get in it. You got to spread your love to the younger generation. You got to let the people know why it came from, because people only hear one side of the story.
That's right.
They don't hear the real roots why original came from. You know what I mean? Why original came from." And like it says, it's not too many people gonna tell it like it is. They're gonna take the spotlight, but they don't tell it about how it really got started. It all got started from, like it says, all the local DJs and all the house DJs got started from the city of Chicago, from the younger kids, not the big guys.
That's right.
Terry Hunter, Mike Dunn, these guys was little tiny weenies coming in the store buying from me. Now they got the spotlight, but back then they know who to come to get the music for. You know what I mean? So, but these guys, you know, I can understand that, like the Jesse Saunders and the Wayne Williams and all these guys. That everybody put the spotlight on themselves, but just tell the real truth and tell it why it really comes. One thing about me, I got documentaries, everything. I got when my first record came out, 1984. You know what I mean? I got my first house record. Like I said, I'm not gonna take the credit. I was the first house artist. I'm not gonna take the credit that I'm the king of house. But like I said, we're the masters of house. You know what I mean? Like I says, and when Frankie got started, Frankie Knuckles, Frankie used to hang out right on the corner of the store that I was selling Luke records. There was a little bar called the Rialto. The Rialto, real small little club. And Frankie, they started there, and they would all promote the music. A little DJ named George was there. He used to come into my store. He buy the music for me. He said, Jesse, Frankie always got everything before everybody. He don't have this. I'm gonna wear him out.
Sounds like we got a part 2 lined up for Master C and J on the Vintage House Show. Again, a big rousing applause for Master C and J, Jesse Jones, Lugo Rosado, Reginald Hughes,
and Glenn,
and my man Glenn Underground
for life.
life. Thank you all.
Can we end this with little Reginald doing a little?
He said he was gonna hum a few bars.
And he said it.
He gonna do it.
Come on, Reginald, give us a little bit.
We want to hear.
Straight, gay, Latin, Asian. Yeah, let's come together. Let's come together. Let's come together.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Another episode of the echoey Vintage House Show tonight. But we are here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m., preserving the business, the history, the stories of the pioneers of house music. Thanks for tuning in. We're back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, right here on Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube. Peace. Everyone stay safe and well.
Stay tuned on Twitch TV for the spotlight.
Take care, guys.
And thank you too, Kevin and Lauren. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Get ready for Dre Boogie.